The small figure of the visitor quietly stepped into the silent house. Air saw. Pure sitting upright, her face completely calm, showing no emotion. Moment Pure realized she had arrived, she glanced over and locked eyes. With her, no hesitation, no turning away. That look alone told Air that her ex, who was now possibly starting something new with her closest sister-like friend, had already prepared herself for this conversation. Some people still have time to prepare themselves mentally and physically. But Air had no chance to prepare anything. Are you two happy together? Her voice trembled as she asked, her vision starting to blur with tears. Her small hands, resting by her sides, slowly clenched into fists. Pure saw everything, the subtle movements, the anger simmering just beneath the surface. She felt it strongly. Air almost never let her emotions show. Her older sister figure, always composed and poised, had always kept her feelings in check until now. Right here in this moment, she was showing more than she ever had before. Pure understood the frustration and pain that Air was carrying. If she put herself in Air's shoes, someone who didn't always look for reasons to justify everything the way she did, maybe she would have reacted even more emotionally. She remembered the time she had been the one left behind, the time she'd begged Air through tears not to leave her. Pure had lashed out at everything back then, resenting everyone and everything that played a part in ruining their relationship. She also complained that Air only focused on a distant future, while destroying everything in the present. So, with everything happening now, it's not surprising that this older sister couldn't control her emotions, and no matter what her ex says or does from now on, she's ready to accept it all, just like how Air once accepted everything without complaint. I'm sorry. Do you really love Loft? Then what should I do? Air realized she couldn't bear to see the two of them in love. She was strong enough to be happy for someone she once knew so well. Just seeing their faces brought pain. The thought of them having a secret, intimate relationship behind her back made tears fall even harder. What should I do now? I'm sorry for letting this happen. I'm sorry I got in too deep and now I can't fix it. Pure never meant to fall for Loft. At first, she just wanted comfort. Physical and emotional, when she was close to her. You don't love me anymore. You didn't wait for me, but I never blamed anyone except myself. It was my fault from the beginning for not choosing you. I let our relationship fade, left you with heartbreak and disappointment for years. But your relationship with Loft, is it really something that should happen? Couldn't it have been someone else? Her hoarse voice spilled out with deep emotion. Some sentences were broken, as if she had run out of strength, but she forced herself to continue speaking through the pain. Because it's Loft, it hurts more than if it were someone else. If it was Loft, you would probably still be waiting right where you were. She stopped talking, not knowing how to move forward. Her heart remained stuck in the past, watching the woman she loved stand beside someone else. She stayed around, always close by, and sometimes she was allowed to be near when the other person permitted it, but she had no right to touch or show love the way her heart truly wanted. That was the place Pure had always been, on the outside, quietly waiting. The reason I didn't wait anymore was because of your younger sister. That's why I feel so guilty and tortured like this. But honestly, I can't love anyone else now. As soon as she said it, the tears she had held back with all her strength finally streamed down her cheeks. It's not that she wasn't sorry for what had happened. If someone wanted to blame them for starting it all, they'd be right, because it was the truth. But the truth Pure had to admit was that she never expected to fall in love with Loft. She had no idea things would end up like this so soon. All I can do now is keep asking, why did you do this to me? It's normal to ask questions, she said quietly. When someone is hurt, their mind automatically searches for reasons, for something to explain the pain. What Air went through was terrible, especially for someone who had once been a lover, and more than that, a truly kind sister. Just like you used to ask me over and over, why didn't I choose you back? Then, I know you had your reasons, Pierre, but it still hurt. As for your questions, why this happened, why it had to be her, I had no good answer, because from the beginning, there were never any good reasons for me and Loft to get close. Nothing meaningful supported it, not love, not logic, just the comfort and temporary happiness that came with being near someone. When you were with her, did you ever think of me? Air's voice was so soft it was hard to hear, but because they weren't sitting far apart, Pure understood what she meant. I knew this would hurt you, Pierre, but at that time I was happy, so happy that I forgot everything, even your feelings. Pure said, lowering her head as tears dropped onto her lap. Her small shoulders shook visibly, and the sight was enough to make anyone watching feel pain in their heart. Air didn't want to see Pure cry, just like how this pretty, delicate girl had once said she didn't like seeing Air's tears either. Pure's words, how she had been so happy that she forgot Air even existed, hit hard. It made Air realize how long she had left Pure to drown in sorrow. When someone new came along and gave her what Air couldn't, it made sense why Pure's heart wavered until she was too far gone to come back. Air wanted to understand the complexity and sensitivity of these emotions. But at that moment, she simply didn't have the mental strength to think it all through. She couldn't bring herself to empathize anymore. Just keeping herself alive and functioning already felt too hard. Right now, the older one couldn't pretend to be the reasonable person she used to be. What Loft and Pure did had hurt her too deeply, just thinking about how she had been the one to introduce them, the one who brought them together in the first place, was painful beyond words. And when she remembered that Pure's bedroom, a place she had once stepped into so carefully and respectfully, had become a place of intimacy. For those two, she couldn't hold back her tears any longer. Air had always respected boundaries between herself and Pure, but Loft had turned that same space into a place of careless pleasure, without regard for anyone's feelings. She wanted to scream at both of them, for what they did, for how heartless and cruel it all seemed, but she couldn't fully bring herself to say it out loud. Deep down, she knew she wasn't entirely blameless in this either. Then go ahead and be happy. There's no need to worry about anything anymore. Our story ended the moment you said you loved someone else. As for the relationship between me and Loft, it's over starting today. I'm sorry I can't wish your love to last. I'm sorry I can't see you and her as a loving couple, and I'm sorry I can't be happy for the two of you. It's okay if you're angry, Pierre. I understand. Pure replied. Pure no longer expects any congratulations or kindness from her. She doesn't want anything from the person in front of her anymore, and she would never ask Air to act like the caring big sister she once promised to be. The guilt you have to carry, just thinking about it brings pain to your heart. It's not something you can easily get over, but with time, everything will eventually fade, including my anger and sadness. Air understood that kind of guilt all too well, choosing to leave Pure behind, even when she begged and pleaded for her to stay, still had lasting effects to this day. And in the same way, Pure was likely feeling just as broken, seeing her behavior now, and in the past, made it clear how deeply the pretty-faced girl who once belonged to her was hurt by everything that had happened. I'm sorry, Pure whispered. In truth, neither of you did anything wrong. We were already over. You have the right to love whoever you want, but what hurts now isn't about right or wrong, it's about feelings. I just want you to understand that. I do, Pure said, nodding. She understood everything. I once said I'd always be your older sister forever, but I can't do that anymore. Even though everything else has ended, I once promised I'd always love and care for you, and maybe that role suited someone older like me, But right now, just looking at you is already too hard. Keeping that. Promise, it's not as easy as I thought. I'm not some superhuman who can. Stay kind while being torn apart inside. Air had to speak up to let the other person know that Air was no longer a part of her world. I understand. We'll part ways here. Tell that kid I have nothing more to say to her. If someone had to bear the brunt of the anger, it was definitely going to be Loft. No need to think twice about it. There was no longer any reason for her and that tall kid to talk again. Their relationship, their sibling bond that had lasted for years, was now completely broken. Yes. Please don't cry or feel guilty for too long. Even though Air couldn't stand seeing Pure happy with Loft, she did want her little sister to suffer too much either. I'm sorry for making you sad, Pierre, but I'm also sorry if I have to hurt Loft. Hurting me might be better than hurting Loft, right? If you love her that much, then go ahead and love her. I truly hope you'll be extremely happy very soon. In a big chair in the lounge, someone sat with their eyes closed, leaning back, completely exhausted. For the first time, Loft felt that the house she once cherished so much had become unlivable. Now that Pure and Air were talking together in that space, she finally felt like she didn't belong. Walking away from them was the only way to ease the heavy feeling in her chest, both because of them and because of herself. How this conversation would end, Loft still wasn't sure. Even someone who had once been chosen like her couldn't be certain. The new status she had just received a few days ago could disappear in an instant. At this point, anything could happen, and if it really did change, all she could do was accept it. From now on, whatever Pure decided to do, whichever direction she chose to take their relationship, Loft was ready to accept it all. Her sisters' happiness was the most important thing, even if Pure had ignored Air like she didn't exist. There was nothing Loft could say against it. Once, Loft had loved and respected Air as her future sister-in-law. That was true. Once she had been a sweet little girl in Air's eyes. That was true too. But that bond, whatever it had been, was gone now, and Loft understood clearly if a complete break between her and Air was inevitable. After those two finished talking, if someone must be hurt this time, let it be her. If love must lead to pain, may that pain come from Pure alone. If everything between them truly had to end, Loft only hoped that the final decision came from Pure, after careful thought, consideration, and her own choice alone.